The war for your soul starts at an early age. Powerful. Check this out. You have in the picture, we're going to deal with the picture first, and then we're going to go in a lot more detail. In the picture, you have a young man. We ain't going to deviate from the picture. We got a young black man. That's what's in the picture. And in the picture, you have many things calling for his attention. Many things. At the bottom, you have a red rag, blue rag. Then you have the brain and his heart. Then you got gun, which looks like a police, a hand of a police on a gun. You got money. Then you got above it, you got the Quran and the Bible. Then you have a blunt and a bra. Then you have a necklace and a Hennessy bottle. Then you have a basketball and what looks like a diploma or a degree. So let's deal with it. Your heart and your brain is what triggers you to make the decisions. And then you have the red rag, blue rag, which represents all boxes of organizations. It seems like just red rag, blue rag, but it's a whole lot deeper than that. Then you got gun and money. Then you got the Quran and Bible. Then you got sex and drugs. Then you got jewelry and liquor, basketball and diploma. Some of y'all might not understand that all these go hand in hand. They all do. Yeah, they all do, because you either, the red rag, blue rag represents control opposition. You either one or the other, but working together, you meet your own demise, no matter what you choose. The gun and the money. Most people have guns and money, or use guns to get money, or if you got money, you got to have a gun. That's the programming. Then you got the Quran and the Bible, religious. Then you got sex and drugs. You got chains and liquor, basketball and diploma. But we're going to deal with this. Being a young man, your makeup of your DNA is from your mother and your father. You are shaped by your mother and your father. Coming out the womb, you are half and half your chromosomes. I think it's 23 and 23. Don't quote me on that. But let's deal with a lot of your decisions, a lot of your choices, a lot of everything that you deal with, tugging on your soul, stems from your mother and father and the environment thereof. A lot of people don't understand that even before you speak a word or take a step, you have come to a realization of who your mother and father is. I'm going to say that again. Before you ever take a step, before you ever say a word, you come to a realization of who your mother and father is based on their pattern. And that affects you in a lot of ways. Because let's be honest, as a child, we don't encounter none of this unless it's brought into our environment. As a child, you're not thinking about no chain. You're not thinking about Hennessy. You're not thinking about basketball. You're not thinking about sex. You're not thinking about drugs. You're not even thinking about religion. Let's be honest. You don't think about a gun. You don't think about getting money. And you don't think about no organizations. All that is put into you by your parents. It's introduced to you by your parents. And we have a sad thing going on where we introduce our children to our own, let's say, vices. Let's be real. Let's say vices. Then when your child ends up not being or being worse off than you were because you couldn't even handle the vices you was just able to maintain. That's what happens. It trickles down. And then it takes you in the deep, dark crypts of your soul. And when you have all these things tugging at you, you Let's take a step back. Your mother and your father. As a young man, we're going to be real. In this country, most mothers are dominant. Most mothers. And we talking about the young man in the picture being a black man or brown man or whatever y'all want to call him, man of color. In this society, in this country, for the last 30 to 60 years, yes, I said 30 to 60 years, the man has been passive because for centuries, or almost a century, for decades, at least 6 decades, the man has dropped the ball. And he's passing it down further and further and further. When you look around and you wonder why no one's getting married or no one's staying married, and even the ones who get married and stay married, they're compromised because most black men, brown men, don't want to put their foot down when dealing with their woman because most of us are in homosexual, heterosexual relationships. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to break what I mean by that down. You have men who are with women who take on the role of a man. So it's like being in a relationship with another man. So that's what I mean by a heterosexual, homosexual relationship. By gender, she's a woman, but by function, the way she functions, she's a man. By function. And you have to butt heads with that woman because she doesn't understand her place. But it goes deep. Then this affects a child because once you get of age, and what I mean is 25 years old. Even in this country, we're taught that age 18 is of age. How is 18 of age when your brain doesn't fully develop until 25? That's another subject. Let's go back to the picture. In the picture, you have all these things surrounding this young man. And all these things are introduced to him by his surroundings. At an infant age, the young man doesn't go get a red rag, blue rag. He doesn't go get a gun. He doesn't go get money. He doesn't pick up a Bible. He doesn't pick up a Quran. He's not looking to have sex, and he's definitely not looking to smoke. He doesn't have a chain, and he's definitely not trying to drink. And he's not concerned with basketball or going to school. His schooling is simply paying attention. He's questioning everything around him. And what the system does, it kills your ability to question. So once you lose the ability to question, you automatically fall into a box. And that's what these things around this young man represents, everything but his heart and his brain. They represent boxes. You could choose this, you could choose that, or you could choose both. When you choose both, your cycle of progress slows down. For instance, check this out. If you sitting down and you just sitting down looking, paying attention, which that's what children do, then this stuff is instilled in you or brought to you and set forth in front of you, and you like, hey, I didn't ask for this. Or then let's deal with each one individual. We're gonna deal with the red, red, blue, red. Red, red, blue, red is the mentality that's taught. So most gangsters or gang members follow the footsteps of someone they idolize. If your father's not there, you end up idolizing. Let's deal with this. I said something key, your father. If your father's not there, and I mean in every form or fashion, you will most likely join a gang or be very close to it. That's even if he's in the house, but he's not fulfilling his function. Or let's say you don't join a gang. You join the church, building, which functions as the gang, but when you recognize that they're not about what they say they about, you're going to at least run to the things that's about what they say they about. So most children at an early age are sent to the church, but recognize that the people in that environment is fake, so they'll flock to the gang because at least they are living what they say they are living. It's sad, but all this is brought on us as children. Guns and money. When a parent goes to the store, it picks up a toy gun, picks up a cap gun, places it in this child's hand. Then when the child is of age, the child has become obsessed with guns. I'm going to give y'all a story. I was told this by someone. They was dealing with they was at like a daycare. And they said this child, young man, could make a gun out of anything. Young man, not even 5 years old. He's infatuated with guns. You know why? Because his parent put the gun in his hand. So if he grows up and become a killer, it started with his parent. As parents, let your child navigate through life. Let them figure it out. And one thing you have to stop doing, don't kill their ability to question. Because guess what that does? It makes you conform to whatever the world system is doing. And it's hard to navigate through this world system when you can't ask questions, parents. You was pissed when you was a child and you couldn't ask questions when they told you to be quiet. When you trying to figure out, I don't want to do this, I don't like this, I don't like that, you're told to shut up and suck it up and take it. When you're just simply trying to voice what you feel. But your feelings are suppressed because your parent wants you to do this and that. We always quote the scripture, train up a child in the way that they should go. Let's be honest. Let's look at our training. You have men from 60 to 79 years old who wasn't prepared to be fathers. Then you have men from, we say, 25 to 40 years old who were probably children of those men who wasn't prepared to be fathers. They dropped the ball. So the cycle continues. Then when a man picks up the ball and when a man picks it up and stands on his own too, the first thing he has to do based on this cricket environment is teach his woman that I got to dig you out this hole because of the adversity you dealt with as a child. Now I can't even love you properly first because I have to jump in the hole and rescue you. Once I rescue you, I can't just move forward because now we both in the hole. Now we got to climb out this hole and move forward. But the whole kicker about this is the young man doesn't even recognize he's in the hole. So what ends up happening, he jumps in the hole, rescues his woman. Then he's manipulated after he gets in the hole. Not because she want to manipulate him. She's only manipulating him to protect her. Because remember, the reason she fell in the hole is because her father wasn't strong enough to keep the foundation from sinking. So just think about this. You wonder why you're looked at the way you looked at. Then you develop hatred for your parents. And your parents had no more resources than you did. They didn't know how to be parents because their parents weren't parents. Y'all want to talk about people hoeing, not being there. This has been going on for almost a century. Let's be honest. A century. And that's why the children flock to games. That's why they are flock to the basketball court. That's why they flock to school. They want a sense of belonging. And if you come in that area and trying to do anything to undercut that belonging, they will kill you because that's their only validation in life. They weren't validated as a child. Sad, but they wasn't. They weren't validated as a child. So You adapt to this box, and you'll ride that box till you die, because your brain and your heart. I'm gonna show y'all something. Young men are turtles. Give y'all this analogy. Young men in this society are turtles, especially black men. They hard on the outside, soft on the inside. If you hit that hard shell to protect you from getting into the soft side of their heart, they'll kill you, because their heart wasn't conditioned and penetrated to love. That's why they developed the hard shell, for protection of the heart. And if you do get in and don't cultivate and really nurture and build up, it's tragic. Tupac Shakur said, the hurt you giving life's infants is effing everybody. So, because you didn't train this child up, now he becomes a killer, because of all the things that was tugging at his soul when he was a young man. He might have picked up a basketball and could shoot the basketball, but at some point he wasn't tall enough to get to the next level, because he wasn't accepted, because they wanted a certain type. So now he's going to drop down to another level and get validated. So you go from box to box, box to box, box to box. This is real. And people got to understand that everywhere you go, you want to be validated as a man. And then check this out. Women, I'm going to show y'all why men cheat. Men cheat because of need. Let me say that again. Men cheat because of need. I know it sounds like I'm going off a tangent, but we dealing with a young man. People want to look at the picture and they want to put a woman in. They want to put this in, put that in, put that in. But we're going to deal with the picture. Men cheat because of need. When an argument ensues, first of all, you got to understand that we don't communicate alike. Men are not emotional in their communication for the most part. You have men who wasn't properly, you have men who hasn't learned how to develop their emotions, so they act like females. But most men don't communicate through emotions. They're direct. When a woman hears something from a man she loves, she don't hear what he say. She hear emotion. And when you ask her to repeat what you said, she will not repeat it, because she didn't hear it. Man, we got to understand that all this stuff is completing. Then you got to think about this. Your brain is in overload. Your heart is heavy. So guess what you do? You're going to go to the sex to soothe you. You're going to go to the drugs to take your mind out of this sunken place. And no one sits down a child and explains to him, this box, this box, this box, this box, this box. It's innate in our soul to want to be God. That's why they're using the term, I'm a God, or I'm the goat. When you train your child that he's a kid, which is a baby goat, he's going to strive to be the goat, the greatest of all times in whatever box he's in. And that greatest of all time might lead him to the penitentiary for the rest of his life. You would celebrate the drug dealer. Oh, he's the greatest drug dealer that ever lived. But you won't celebrate your child just being the best man he could be. You will celebrate the basketball player who gave his life for the sport and ended up dying on the court, or spent more time devoted to shooting a basketball to being able to raise his family. Look at Kobe Bryant, if you don't see what I'm saying. Kobe Bryant invested all of his years on earth to shoot a basketball. Died at 41. Now his children is without a father, because all those 41 years was spent developing his jump shot, developing how he moved to rim to rim. What are we teaching? You understand that you were taught that oh, to speak this way is better than to speak that way. At the end of the day, you could speak with all kind of proper tones, but if you're a snake, you still a snake. You can speak in every Ebonic language in the world, broken English, broken this, broken that. And if you show love, you are genuine. We got to get off of these boxes that we've been put in. We have to quit being validated by boxes. What you got to understand is love is key. But if you're not properly nurtured, you will get a killer. You will get a drug dealer. You will get a liar who turned into a lawyer because he was able to retain information and they said he was smart. Let me talk about this. In school, you're not smart because you got a degree. It just simply means you knew how to follow the instructions. The test took. That's when the test took and you followed the instructions, they label you a success. When really they're labeling you a success because you have been programmed. You lose your ability to function independently. As a child, when you're born, the Most High gives you the ability to operate independently of a system. That's why you're thinking, you're looking, you're paying attention. But as you pay attention, you understand, hey, shut up, get in there. This is deep. This is just part one. I wanted y'all to see this because this could go many different ways. Because of everything that's in the box, what people run to is religion. You don't get to know the Most High for yourself. You'll just run to a religion that'll tell you a lie. I'm gonna tell y'all this, and if I mean this with all my heart. Every religion on the face of this earth, religion is a lie. Because if I tell you 99% of the truth, I still told you a lie. But you will run to a religion to keep from coping with what's really going on instead of getting in tune with the Most High. If you really get in tune with the Most High, you'll understand that religion is man-made. You will understand that drugs and sex is just temporal, and sex was created to produce a human being to keep furthering the nation building. But we don't have kings and queens because we have simps and peasants who only want sex and drugs. So you don't look at your woman because of the conditions at birth. You don't look at your woman as a queen. You don't see her as the heir to, you don't see her as a queen sitting on the throne. You see her as a whore. You see her as a hole that you could go inside. So they give us idolization. The chain represents idolization. Once you got, now check this out, rappers, ball players. We live in a world that's full of fame. And I'm going to end on this. When you are placed as an idol in somebody's life, you'll create a chain. Put it around your neck. You'll put a chain of yourself around your neck. You'll get a shirt with your face on it, making yourself an idol. When you cease to penetrate the soul. So while we running around getting all these degrees, going to work all these jobs, while we going to get high, while we selling all this dope, look at your children. Your children see this. Why you want to be so educated and tell them this, tell them that. Your flaws, how you really get mad and how you really hate to be told what to do, it's in your children because it comes from their DNA. And you wonder why they rebel when they get a certain age, because they are you and they're tired of you faking. Remember at the first part of the video, I said they know who you are before they ever say a word, before they ever take a step. So now, after you know that they are aware, you want to portray that you're something you're not. But they know your heart because, for one, they come from you. They come from your DNA. They come from your makeup. So they know that the ability to want to do this and do that, they get from you. Mothers, your daughters are whores because you was a whore. Fathers, your son is a gangbanger most of the time because you was a gangbanger or you wasn't there. Your son doesn't know how to cope with life because you never learned how to cope with life. Lesbianism, homosexuality. Homosexuals are either raped or they either hate the opposite sex parent. I'm going to say that again. They're either raped or they hate the opposite sex parent. It's a lot of guys who are whores and their daughters refuse to be with a man that's a whore, so she'll be with a woman. You got a lot of guys who fathers left them and their mothers was dominant, so they took on the role of a female, and then they really hate their mother because their mother never allowed them to be a man because she say, if you was a man, you'll do this. Women, you have a man's mindset. If you talking to any man and you say, a real man would do this, how would you know? You're not a man. This is just something to think about. This is an explanation to everything that's going on. I want y'all to think about what that young man or that young girl is going through when they come out the womb, when they're introduced to all this lasciviousness, when they introduced to these false religions, when they introduced to this pistol, when they introduced to the basketball, when they spend all their time, oh, I'm going to be a star, I'm going to be a star, I'm going to be a star, I'm going to be a star. Then they get hurt and they can't play the sport no more. Then they run to alcohol and drugs. You did this by not understanding that. Teaching them the right way, learning the right way for yourself, understanding that they cope with drugs because you cope with drugs. If they see you when times get hard with mom, run out, they gonna run out. If they see you fight or flight, if they see you always take flight, they gonna take flight. This is real. Your children is paying attention. Everything that you teach them, everything that they become, they are products of their environment, and you create the environment. It doesn't matter where you stay. You could be in the biggest house or you could be in the smallest ghetto. You provide the environment. Everything that they're introduced to as a child, you do it. If you don't want your child to be a whore, mother, stop being a whore yourself. You might not think your young girl's paying attention to how many men that you have. Fellas, you might not think your daughters are seeing how many women that you talk to, how many women that you just flock to, how you treat their mothers. They paying attention. The reason our young men are so bad is because the fathers before them failed them. They failed them. They failed them because their father failed them, and no one wanted to pick it up and say, stop. Enough is enough. This is the explanation. The war on your soul starts at an early age. What are you doing in the midst of the war? And what war? How are you helping your child navigate through their battle? Are you giving them something to hurt them? Or are you instilling them with the proper tools to navigate through this wicked world? I'm out.